lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sac City Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined as always by my best friend in the whole entire world. He is Aaron, the Mukesiah Mukes, with the Lord and Savior right behind him. I think we're going to be talking about him a lot today. There's a lot of conversation about that man coming up in a little bit. But Aaron, how goes it on this beautiful Tuesday morning?
It's good, man. I just turned on the TikTok live. I have no idea what I'm doing. So bear with me if you ever join TikTok live. Not like we have a bunch of followers. We've only got 200. So if you're on the YouTube, go follow us on TikTok as well. We have nobody in there now that's giving me something about guidelines, but I'm live. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Talk some ball. People can yell at me and do what they want to do, but I'm good. I'm excited. Second week back. We're starting to hit our groove, and I'm excited, man. Good week of football.
Yep, we are starting to find our rhythm back in the city. Again, if you are new to the city, please, we appreciate you guys joining in and joining in on the fun. But like and subscribe and make sure you tell everybody, because we are taking off. We did this before and we were great. We're doing it now and we're going to be like, this is like next
2.0.
level. Like next level stuff. You're not going to want to be anywhere else but the city. We've got a great show ahead of us. We're going to talk and look back at week 11. We're going to look ahead to some big matchups. Dude, I was literally texting my boss on Sunday morning. I was like, I was dying, and I worked remotely. I was texting my boss. I'm like, dude, of course, every single game is coming down to the wire. Like every single one of them.
We knew it was. It lived up to the hype of what week 11 was. We're talking about 4 major games that we're really kind of paying attention to, and then the upsets happen, and the teams that we think are going to win are losing. A lot to talk about and a lot to get to, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, let's get it started.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yes, sir.
Can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Let's start at Sunday night. Let's start at Sunday Night Football with the Eagles and the Lions, because we really don't need to talk about Monday Night Football at all. I mean,
we don't want to talk about my oh, now we're not going to talk about my boys. Last week you said we're eventually going to get to talk about the Cowboys, and now we get an opportunity. You're just going to gloss over them. I see. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Honestly, I didn't want to talk about the Cowboys. And we have our show doc. We have our rundown planned out. Nothing in here is talking about the Cowboys.
Yeah, because you guys are haters.
But hey, nothing in here is talking about the Jaguars, and we beat the shit out of the Chargers. Okay, so let's not. We're not.
Nobody cares about the Jaguars.
But I actually do want to get your thoughts about the Cowboys real quick. Just
yeah.
Let's already go off
far away.
Our tangent. So the Cowboys last night, they did what they were supposed to do against the Las Vegas Raiders, a Las Vegas Raiders team that's really struggling. They beat them 33-16 on prime time. This was their second game since the deadline, since they went out and acquired Quentin Williams from the Jets, and who was the guy that they drafted that they got from the Bengals? What was the guy's name?
Logan Wilson.
Great. So this is the second game since then. They beat the Raiders 33-16. They are now 4-5-1, not completely out of the playoff picture, but on the outside looking in. Where are you at with the Cowboys in terms of just what's going on? Because they're obviously not like tanking it by any means.
Okay, hold this thought really quick. I'll answer your question.
I had a great question loaded up for you, and you just I knew as I was saying it, I was like trying to get him to, I was trying to stretch to where I needed to go here for this guy, and he still has this, but this is not an internet issue. This is not an internet issue. We're good. I will take this time, as usual, while Aaron is figuring out and troubleshooting what he has going on. Like and subscribe to the show at Sac City Pod on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X. I know, again, this is an old graphic. Kenny Baby Hands Pickett with the Steelers and the Twitter logo. We get it, but that does not take away from the fact that you guys need to like and subscribe. Tell your friends that the Sac City Podcast is back. Like, subscribe, and share. For those watching at home in the comments, please let us know who you are, what you got going on in the chat. We love interacting with the fans. That's one of the things that we have taken pride in since the beginning of this show. For those who have been with us since the Rough Cut Sportscast days to now with the Sac City podcast, one of the biggest things we pride ourselves on is interacting with the fans. So please let us know in the chat who you are. We would love to interact, get it going with the fans. But of course, like, subscribe, share at Sac City Pod on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube. We are there. Aaron is slowly figuring everything out. We've got a great show, though, ahead of us. We've got, we'll break down everything again. Where is this? I gotta keep it flowing for this guy. What is happening? Where did you go? We had like 20 minutes of just, it's just me again. We're just back to me again. This is crazy. This is yes, yeah. This is what he's in, he's out, he's in, and he's out. I just don't know. We're live now. We're doing it live. I wanted to talk about the one time we were about to talk Cowboys too. We were literally about to talk Cowboys just for him. And this is why we can't talk Cowboys anymore. This is it. This is why we can't talk Cowboys. When he comes back in, this is why. I got nothing else. I can't stretch this. I can't stretch this long. Can't do it. Aaron will be back soon, though. He'll join us, and we'll break down the Cowboys win against the Las Vegas Raiders. Other than that, we're going to be diving into the Eagles win against the Lions. We'll talk the Chiefs' struggles and that walk-off field goal for the Denver Broncos and what that does for them moving forward as the race for the 1 seed in the AFC heats up. We'll also look ahead to Week 12, some major matchups there. The Colts and the Chiefs. Are the Chiefs able to kind of bounce back and figure out and find their form? Are the Colts the real deal? Is it a prove-it game for the Colts? I'll ask Aaron that, and we'll figure it out. We've also got power rankings. We're going to do our first edition of the Sac City Podcast power rankings on the show. We've got a top 10 list coming from the Muxiah himself. If he decides to join, I don't know what's happening with what he's got going on. Maybe his internet actually did go out this time. I thought this was an audio issue that he was trying to handle, but it is not an audio issue. He is still working through some things. So you get me for right now. And really, you get me for right now stalling and trying to stretch this thing out until my boy comes back. But if you're in the chat, drop a like. Just let me know. Let me know what you thought of Week 11. We can interact. We can have fun. Where's this guy at? This is incredible. This is longer than last week when his internet actually did go out. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We're getting a lot of people joining in as Aaron is gone. Again, thank you guys for tuning into the Sac City Podcast. We are having some technical difficulties with our good friend Aaron Mukes. Just hang tight. We're going to get back into our Week 11 reactions. We're going to again talk Eagles, Lions. Last week we got a lot of hot takes about the Eagles and whether or not they are actually the real deal. On Sunday, Week 11 did suck. Week 11 did. I don't know. What do you mean? I see you here. Week 11 sucked. I don't know. Did it suck? Why did it suck? Because there were a lot of games that went down to the wire. Maybe your team lost. I understand it would suck if that was the case. But I mean, like, as a Jags fan, we were able to beat the Chargers pretty handily and make a statement there. And then we had tons of games come down to the wire, overtime games, Bryce Young making Carolina Panthers history. I mean, it was, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. As a Chiefs fan, we're going to talk a lot about the Chiefs today. Aaron is one of the biggest Chiefs supporters that I've ever met, and he's not even a Chiefs fan. When he hops back in, you'll be able to see that he has the Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes right above his head. I think that this episode will be the hottest Chiefs episode that we're going to have, because with the struggles that they're having, for me, I don't know how you can continue to have full confidence in this team to be able to bounce back. Once you dig yourself into that hole, it becomes way too hard to get back. And you look at the Chiefs schedule with playing Denver again, they play the Chargers. Like, that is, it's a tough road ahead. And to me, it's kind of crazy when you look at like the odds to make the playoffs type things. You still see the Chiefs still favorites to make the playoffs. The Ravens still make playoffs. We're like, I don't recall the last time I saw a playoff picture that had this many teams out of the playoffs with a lot of games to catch up, still favored to be in the playoffs. 10% of Trevor. Yeah. Yes. 10% of Trevor's wins have been against the Chargers. I'm not a Trevor fan. In the past, I was giving him a chance to prove himself. He's not the guy. He is not the guy. I'm out on Trevor Lawrence. I'm still out on Trevor Lawrence. That game on Sunday did not do anything to confirm or make me want to change my mind. But as of right now, he did all right. I think that's more of a reflection of how good Liam Cohen can be as a head coach, minimizing him to make as little mistakes as possible. He still threw an interception, but I don't know what to say about Trevor Lawrence anymore. I think the defense is balled out. When they're getting turnovers, they're a different breed. I just need to email Aaron back. I'm going to email Aaron his way to get into here. He said he's locked out, so we're gonna see how we can get our guy back in here so we can get this show on the road here. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Again, we appreciate everyone tuning in here to the show. Again, we're going to be talking. We're going to even talk Shedeur Sanders in this. So we have a lot going on. We got a lot going on. We got a lot. Oh, his camera and his mic are blocked. What is this? Is just he is. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, not a big Shedeur Sanders fan. Okay, all right. There are, to me, about Shedeur Sanders, there are two clear sides to this coin. You are either such a big fan of Shedeur Sanders to where you're blind to his struggles, or you hate Shedeur Sanders so much, and maybe not the person of Shedeur Sanders, but just everything that comes with Shedeur Sanders, to where you're blind to what he can do and what he is capable of. I don't think there's an in-between. I think every fan, every NFL fan out there that connects themselves to Shedeur Sanders, you're either on one side or the other. There is no in-between for that guy, and it's unfortunate because he's a very talented player, and he's just always going to get that. Wait, is he back?
Bro, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Now, it's incredible. We had 5 viewers. Before you got in, and now we're down to 1. As soon as you joined, we're down to 1.
So everybody wants to watch you and not me. I got it. It's cool.
No,
hey, look, bro. I don't know what happened to my MacBook, but now I can't get the microphone and the video on the MacBook. Do you know how to do that? It's like locked out because I accidentally hit. And now I'm stuck, and I don't know how to fix it. And I don't like this view as much.
No, I think that view is actually perfect for what we're going to end up talking about. I ended up talking to some listeners, some viewers here, and we have this gentleman here, TJ, a big Chiefs fan. He was not happy with the result on Sunday for the Chiefs, obviously, so his week 11 sucked. But I did mention that we're going to have a lot of conversation about the Chiefs today, and there is the Lord and Savior himself. I haven't done this in a while. Let me take you full. There it is. Look at the Lord and Savior himself.
I got Landry too. I got Tom Landry there just in case. I apologize for that, guys. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So
okay.
I'm just gonna say that. But we're back. We didn't even really get into much, and it's been 15
The show's
minutes.
over. The
plan has already gone to shit once again.
Dude, the show's over. I literally just talked about everything. I talked about literally everything.
You know what I was really trying to do? This is how I got messed up. So I just, like I mentioned, first time on TikTok Live. So I was trying to get it to where take my AirPods out and they could hear you and see me and hear me. So they could be part of the conversation too if they didn't go over to YouTube. Well, that shit didn't work. So that's what
you get for trying to be a good person.
For whatever reason, it didn't work. And now my MacBook is locked out of the stream and I can't have, whatever. So I'm on TikTok Live. If you're on TikTok Live, you can join us on YouTube Live for the Sac City podcast. We're still trying to get working our way. Episode 2, technically, but let's get it. Let's talk ball.
Let's do it. Let's try this again.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, let's dive into week 11. Let's table the Cowboys talk, because I want to get into that. Seemed to be the problem here. We don't talk about that seemed to be the problem. So let's go to your rival here and let's talk about your Philadelphia Eagles, because last week you had some concerns about the Eagles that you expressed, not necessarily about the team, but maybe about the leadership and being able to kind of right the ship and kind of go all the way. Not necessarily, they're still a great team, but the ability to finish the job when it's all said and done. You expressed your concerns there. Well, on Sunday, they had a big test against a very good Detroit Lions team. Sunday Night Football, primetime matchup, the whole world is watching, and they were able to completely shut down that Detroit Lions team that was coming off of a 30-plus point win the previous week under the newly led offense by Dan Campbell. Offense didn't look that great this week, only putting up 9 points against a very good Eagles defense. Let's stick with Philadelphia here. They're 8-2. They've got the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. They looked good defensively, struggled again offensively. 4-game win streak, though. Where does this put the Eagles now for you?
I don't think it changes much. I know how much I said that they needed to win this game. And out of the 4 teams that we talked about, Seattle, the Rams, Detroit, and Philly, I said they needed this one the most. But it wasn't really about whether they were going to win or they were going to lose the game. We've seen Philadelphia continuously pick up wins week after week. They just do it in an ugly way. I know I referenced the early 2000s San Antonio Spurs as kind of watching them. They're kind of boring. But if you watch that game again on Sunday night, it wasn't much different. The offense is still struggling. Jalen Hurts just had 135 yards passing. The offense still couldn't score. Outside in the second half, they scored 3 points. Now, did the defense play extremely well? Absolutely. And did Jared Goff look like he was chasing ghosts and shadows? Absolutely. So the defense, I commend them. This is what we've seen all year long. One side of the ball plays well, the other side doesn't. There is something broken in that Eagles offense. We continuously talk about Kevin Patullo and the offensive coordinator and what's going on there. I thought they made a conscious effort to get A.J. Brown involved, and then Smitty's nowhere to be found. So why is this offense so broken? Saquon Barkley still didn't have a 100-yard game. He ran okay, but there's something wrong with this offense, and I get it. Eagles fans are going to sit here and talk about, but they're winning. We've seen this last year. What I remember from last year is watching the Chiefs struggle throughout the year and people bringing it up, and then in the Super Bowl, when it mattered most, those struggles reared their ugly heads and they couldn't get it done. So am I saying Philadelphia is not a playoff team? No. Am I saying they're not a good team? No. I'm saying that when you are struggling on one side of the ball the way they are offensively in the postseason, beating the good teams in those type of environments is going to be what cost you in the end. So I just worry from that standpoint. They're going to continue to win games because they're a good enough football team. But come postseason, I worry about how they're going to stack up against some of those teams that are clicking on all cylinders.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but if I remember correctly, the last season and really the past few seasons when the Eagles have made their runs to the Super Bowl and made their playoff runs, it was always their offense that kind of was carrying the way. And then there were some question marks around the defense, right? Because it was always like the Darius Slays and the James Bradbury conversations of whether or not their cornerbacks can be good and consistent. And their defense wasn't their linebacker play. They weren't getting good linebacker play. Now it seems like it's flipped when it comes to those two teams. So my thing with that is like, I always love flipping that question to everyone is, okay, as a fan of that team, I would be happy because normally it's my defense that we're talking about as the concern, and that's what's stepping up. I have trust in my offense that they'll be able to figure it out. Do you have trust in that offense to be able to figure it out when it comes down to it?
In the players' talent. Do I have trust in them as a scheme as a whole? Not right now. And I don't think anybody should be saying they do have confidence in them. Listen, when your own players will stand in the locker room and say something's broken and something's wrong, that speaks volumes. You don't have to take it from me. I'm not on the NFL field. I'm not a professional football player, but I know what I'm watching. I've been watching football a long time. Something is not right with that offense. It looks ugly. And yes, have they been able to win ugly? Sure. But there is something to be said about doing it a certain way, and they're not doing that right now. Listen, Detroit played absolutely horrible offensively. 3 for 18 between third and fourth down, 0 for 5 on fourth down. They went for it multiple times and couldn't get it. Credit to the Philadelphia Eagles defense, sure, but they outgained Philadelphia still while doing that. Okay, third downs for Philly wasn't great either. They were just 4 for 15 on third down. Something about Jalen Hurts, this offense, there's a disconnect there. The offensive line's not playing well. They've had injuries in Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson now being banged up. Who knows how that's going to last and how that's going to linger throughout the rest of the season. And they are not the same team when that offensive line is not playing well. There is a problem in Philly. And if you're a Philly fan, it's not saying you're not a good team and you can't win. I don't know how many times I got to say that. But if you are just going to gloss over the fact that there's a problem there, then you're just being delusional at this point. And I think that the Eagles will have a hard time in the postseason if they don't get the ship corrected and fix it.
In Eagles fans' defense, and this disgusts me saying, because I do not want to defend any Eagles fans ever, because really Philadelphia can just
whoa, calm down on the Philly.
I'm not getting into
fan, so I get it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't mean to. We do a really good job on this show separating fandom and reality. I think that's something that we've always. While you were away, I was kind of going over the Sac City pitch to everyone in the chat of the fact that we pride ourselves on interacting with the fans.
Yeah.
But this here, we also pride ourselves on separating fandom and reality. And I will defend Eagles fans here because I actually spoke to a lot of Eagles fans after our show last week. People came up to me and actually liked what we said about the Eagles, how we were calling them out, but recognizing where they are in terms of everything. Yeah.
That's okay. You're the defending Super Bowl champion team, and not everything's going to go right. Everybody's coming for your throat, but it's okay to say we're not playing our best football and we're still finding ways to win. But don't gloss over the fact that the offense has had its moments where it hasn't played well. And that continues to be over the past 2 weeks. Let's be honest, 16 points against the Lions, 10 points against Green Bay. If you'd have told me those were their offensive numbers in those 2 games, I would have told you that was 2 losses. Kudos to the defense. They played great. They're continuing to play great. But that offense doesn't look like what it was looking like early on to start, a few games here and there, and there's something broken. And they have to fix it. They're not going to win the Super Bowl with this specific type of winning formula.
If I was an Eagles fan, I'd be happy. I'd be very confident right now. I'm like, okay, the offense.
Why would you be happy?
I think the offense can figure it out. Like, I really do think that. Like, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm like, okay, like, our defense is so good. Our offense is too talented to have this continue.
That says to me that it's bigger than just the personnel on the field, that there's something more deeply rooted. And to me, that's a bigger issue than just saying that, oh, we have, we're lacking this, or we had a couple of injuries. I think it's bigger than just saying that. I think there is something internal that is going wrong. And the Eagles can gloss over it all they want to. They can talk about it's not really there. I'm happy. You can see it. You can sense it. Something is broken.
Yeah.
Even when A.J. Brown gets targeted 11 times, he finishes with like 5 catches for 49 yards. That is not a winning formula for that football team.
I never understand like how we get like the Eagles will win, and obviously it's not the best of wins, but the Eagles will win on Sunday Night Football, and then an hour later I'm getting reports of someone in the locker room saying something is broken, something is wrong, I need this, I need that. And I'm like, what the hell? This like just what are we doing here? Like, it could be so much worse for you guys, okay? You could be a team. You could be a team at the bottom. You could be the Atlanta Falcons right now, okay? It could be so much worse.
Hey now, that's my other team. You were just taking shots today.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. So we talk about the Eagles and their offense struggling. On the other side of this was actually an offense that really struggled. The Detroit Lions put up their fewest points in a game since 2023, only 9 points scored against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football, primetime, spotlight on them. Dan Campbell, second time leading this offense here, and it didn't look great. To me, what stood out was the fourth downs, like 0 for 5 on fourth down, continuing to go for it, continuing that Dan Campbell aggressive style. And we always talk about it. You're a hero if you make it, but you are public enemy number one if you fail. And when you fail 5 times, 0 for 5 on fourth downs, that's going to be what sticks out for Dan Campbell in this offense. Is there? We're not in panic territory for the Lions by any means.
We're not. Why do we get to pick and choose when we're in panic mode for teams? Every week there seems to be somebody that wants to panic and react. Let's just jump on board and do it. How are we not going to panic about a team that, first of all, the quarterback had to put on 3 sets of gloves? He's out there looking like Teddy Bridgewater in his prime, and we're not going to panic? Jared Goff looked like he was scared. Like he did not look like the Jared Goff that was starting to creep into those MVP conversations. And I'm sorry, but this is why there's been reluctancy. This is why Sean McVay got rid of Jared Goff, because of moments like that. Now, has he been good for Detroit? Absolutely. Has Detroit played well with him under center? Absolutely. But we have to learn how to shift standards. And the standard is Detroit is no longer just this lowly franchise that we say, oh, they're trying to find their footing and they're going to win now. They're finally making playoffs. This is a Super Bowl favorite team in the NFC. This is a team that now has expectations of going beyond an NFC championship game like they did a couple of years ago with the 49ers. So you now have to play that way. And in order to play that way, you need your quarterback not to play scared. And guess what? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalen Phillips, they had him playing scared, and he missed too many throws. He's playing with 2 gloves. The cold weather's affecting him. And in the playoffs, you can't have that, because where's Detroit going to be going? They're going to be going to possibly Chicago now. They're going to be going to possibly Green Bay. They're going to be going to Philadelphia. You can't have that. And so, yes, has Detroit – is Detroit still a playoff team? Are they an amazing offense? Are they going to still find a way to win games? Yes, but we have now got to shift that Detroit conversation. It's no longer just a feel-good story about Dan Campbell. Now it's you have expectations to win big games, and you're not winning big games. They lost to Kansas City this year. You can't have that. They lost to who did they lose 2 weeks? Was it I can't think of their freaking schedule.
They lost to Philadelphia, they lost to Minnesota, they lost to Kansas City, and they lost in week 1 to the Packers.
To Green Bay. Green Bay. Yeah, so now you've lost to Green Bay. You've lost to Minnesota. 2 division losses. You lost to Kansas City, and now you lost to Philly. I'm sorry, but 3 of those teams are going to be the teams you're going to be playing in the playoffs. So if we're going to hold that same standard to other teams, we need to hold that to Detroit as well. The 0 for 5 conversation on fourth down was ridiculous. Dan Campbell is an aggressive coach, but there is a feel you have in a football game. I don't care about we're just going to run it down your throat. We're going to think we can do everything. He missed out on probably 9 points of field goals, and that might change some of the circumstances. I didn't have a problem when it was, 4th and 3 at the 45. But when you're in the red zone and your team offense is not playing well, get points and let your defense do what they've been doing, because the defense played really well. And unfortunately, Dan Campbell, I think, cost him a lot in this game. But Jared Goff, to me, is more important. I also didn't think they did a very good job of getting Jahmyr Gibbs involved early. And you saw in the second half when they did, it was a game changer. He is an absolute explosion waiting to happen. And I thought they waited a little too long to get him involved. And unfortunately, in the end, it cost them.
You know who they did get involved? Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12 targets, caught 2 of 12 of those targets. That game was, and I'm not saying that's all on Amon-Ra. I'm not saying
no, it was on Jared Goff. Did you see those targets? Come on, the stat guys are giving him targets, but he's throwing the ball 5 feet out of bounds, or he's throwing it in the dirt. There's no way. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we can look at box scores and we can say, oh, this happened. Oh, that happened. But at the end of the day, if you watch Jared Goff play in that game, he played scared, and they were getting a pass rush. Don't get me wrong. But the fact of the matter is he has to play better. And he's starting to that Jared Goff conversation of why the Rams got rid of him was on display on Sunday night against Philly. That's why they did it.
Yeah, that was St. Louis Rams, Jared Goff.
St. Louis Rams. Woo.
Yeah, that was St. Louis Rams, Jared Goff, and I had to think about it. I was like, he was there for the St. Louis Rams, right? I had to think
2016.
of, yeah, I had to think about that, and like, it's crazy to put that into perspective. But yeah, that was early Jared Goff for sure. Now I posed the same question with the Eagles. I'm going to do it again. I'm sorry, I have to do it. Are Is this another one of those situations? Like, can this be a situation where, like, again, last year, talking about the Detroit Lions, the defense was the problem. Now the defense showing up and the offense can't pick up the slack. Do you think we can find that middle ground for the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that the offense is like lacking. Let's be honest. The offense plays pretty well for most of the year. They've been a good offense. I think what you run into is certain situations, right? And I think that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a big game against Philadelphia on the road. How are you going to perform? But look at the games they've won versus what they lost. They lost to Green Bay, only scored 13 points. They lost to Kansas City, only scored 17. They lost to Philadelphia, only scored 9. Like, your offense didn't show up in those games. But all those other games, yeah, I mean, you got 52-point games, you got 38-point games.
Yeah, every win they got 30 plus.
They've been able to score.
Except
the problem
for Tampa.
is they are not consistent when it comes to playing against good football teams. And let's be honest, this is the NFL. Every week, it's like you play somebody, it's a grind to win. So I don't want to just overreact to it. But again, I'm going to hold these teams that have high expectations to the same standard. We can't sit there and have conversations about the Chiefs or have conversations about Baltimore and not have those same conversations about Detroit, about the Eagles. Yeah. And so I think it just needs to be across the board. Those conversations have to happen. Detroit has to play better. But to me, it starts and ends with Jared Goff. And you're gonna hear a lot about that today when I'm talking. It's gonna be a lot about the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear. I'm really excited to hear to get into the power rankings chat. We have it coming up in a little bit because that's going to be very telling when we talk about the hierarchy of these teams, the Eagles and the Lions, and where the Chiefs are and where the Rams are going to be. And it's going to be. I'm excited to get into that and hear your thoughts on who you have where, but. We talk about the standard, and there has been no bigger standard in the NFL than the man that's right above your head, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They are now they are still, I should say, on the outside looking in of the playoffs. Now they have fallen behind the Houston Texans for a playoff spot. They are 9th in the standings in the AFC, sitting at 5-5. This is one of the worst starts that a Patrick Mahomes-led team has ever had. 1-4 on the road this season. Not looking too great. This is their worst 10-game start since 2015 for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the last time they failed to win the division. Sunday was another tough day for the Chiefs, losing 22-19 on a Will Lutz game-winning field goal to the Denver Broncos. Huge game for the Broncos. We're going to talk a lot of Chiefs here for this conversation, but I don't want to brush over the Denver Broncos. We put the pressure on them, and everyone loves to talk about them before the game and putting the pressure on them to prove it that they are the real deal. And then after the game, everyone wants to just talk about the Chiefs because of the struggles and how big of a deal that is. We got to give the Denver Broncos some love, okay? Like, they went out there, they got the job done. Whether it looks pretty, whether you're fully sold on the Denver Broncos or not, they got the job done against a team that we're always talking about being at the tippy top, whether they are 5-5, whether they're 3-7. They are the standard in the NFL. That's it. Becoming the theme of this show, the standard of the NFL. That's the Chiefs. And the Denver Broncos were able to go out there and grind out a win against a team, a desperate Chiefs team. They were able to find a way to win. Bo Nix did. No one looked phenomenal in that game, but the Denver Broncos were able to do that. So let's give the Denver Broncos their flowers. But on the Chiefs side, again, their worst 10-game start since 2015. Aaron, are we hitting are we sounding the alarms for Kansas? Like, because you have been very, like, I remember on our first shows, you were like, until there's no Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I don't care about anything else. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. They're the best team in the league. Moving on. Now, are you concerned?
Spit out the question.
Spit.
I know you want, just spit it out.
Are you concerned about your Chiefs here? Like, this is uncharted water for you.
Let me ask you this question. When I made those statements, I believe it was like 2018, 2019. I don't know when we first started. Was I wrong?
I don't know. Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? They won 7. They went to 7 straight AFC championship games. So was I wrong for picking them at that point to say I'm going to pick them every year? To this point, was I wrong?
You have not been wrong to this point.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Who's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs?
The Lord and Savior.
Who's the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Andy Reid.
Why in the world would I change that tune because they start 5-5 and are not playing well in the middle of a football season? Why? Like, this is my biggest frustration with sports media in general. And I know this goes far deeper than this Kansas City Chiefs talk. We want to react each and every week. Fair point. Do you want to address the Broncos game? Sure. We can address the Broncos game and what went wrong and why they played so poorly. And Patrick Mahomes was not the Lord and Savior on Sunday. He played like crap. I can admit those things. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit up here after a week 9, week 10 loss, 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after they just beat Detroit and everybody was back on the Chiefs bandwagon again. And then 2 weeks later, they lose a couple of games in a row and we're back off of it. I don't do this. We talked about the roller coaster of an NFL season. Are there concerns with the Kansas City Chiefs? Absolutely. I will admit to that. There are things that are not working for them. They refuse to run the football. Patrick Mahomes did not play great. He's turning the ball over in certain situations where he wasn't turning it over before. They're losing close games, which they won last year. And this is not a team that's going to score 40 like it was in 2019 and 2020. So they have to win those close games. Those are all facts. And those are all things that I'm okay with people pointing out and saying. But I challenge anybody that talks about the Kansas City Chiefs with one question. And this is like getting to your core of a fandom or watching football. If the Kansas City Chiefs play any of those teams in the AFC that people are so high on, and you had to bet on it, would you pick them in the playoffs to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Now, whether they do or don't, that's not what I'm asking. How confident are you that they would go and beat Kansas City at home or on the road? And if you're the type of person that's like, oh, they would beat Kansas City right now and I would put my money on it, then so be it. You can have that and we'll see if that happens. But if you're like, well, I'm not willing to open up my wallet for that, but I think Kansas City's falling off, then you're just talking. Then you're just hoping for a different blood in the AFC, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters for Kansas City. The same thing that's all that matters for Detroit, Green Bay, the Rams, Baltimore, Buffalo. At the end of the season, we're going to look. And if Kansas City does not go to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, we're going to consider that a failure, right? If Baltimore is not in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, it's a failure. Buffalo, same thing. Philadelphia, same thing. So why in week 11 are we really worried about them losing to Denver? Is it because their run of the AFC, winning the AFC East or West is gone? Darn, they didn't win the AFC West this year. Heaven forbid you don't win for the rest of your existence. Like, the division. Like, come on, man. We just gotta. I remember years we had these same conversations with the New England Patriots. And I know people that are in our audience are probably young, not old enough to remember those conversations or weren't really paying attention, but I lived those conversations. Is Tom Brady washed? Is the Patriots run over as a dynasty? Like, we got to stop. We want to, because we want the next best thing. And I know that everybody prays for the Chiefs' downfall. But at the end of the day, I will judge the Kansas City Chiefs based on what they do in the postseason, if they make it, not what they do in the regular season.
While others pray for the Chiefs' downfall, you pray to the Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes, and you keep it moving. That's
for him. I just watch football, and I just don't react to them losing. Now, you mentioned Denver; they get credit, but if this was a division game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, nobody would blink an eye that Pittsburgh beat Baltimore. So why are we blinking an eye that the Denver Broncos, who's a really, really good football team, beating Kansas City? I get it. They might not win the AFC West this year. It doesn't look good. But I'm not concerned if I'm a Chiefs fan until they're mathematically eliminated from the postseason.
What about though? Let's move away from the lines about the records and the division titles and the win streaks and whatever. Let's strip it to the bare bones here, okay? Let's talk about what's on the field. Okay. Because that is what to me is a little like that's what makes me, and you can say you just trust the process, you trust Mahomes, but what are you seeing on the field that do you like what are you have to have concerns though for the Chiefs, like what you're seeing on the field? I mean, their offense is not clicking and their defense hasn't looked great. What are you seeing with this Chiefs that on one side gives you the confidence, but on the other side could give you some cause for concern?
The biggest cause for concern is what made the Chiefs, to me, and maybe not to everybody else, was their ability to win in the big moments, in the spots. We talked about it. Last year, they were like 12-0 in one-score games. And this year, it's not going their way. And it's not going their way not because they don't have the guys. It's because those guys are not showing up. So you get certain situations like Sunday's game with Denver, and you have Patrick Mahomes throw a red zone interception. In the past, that just wouldn't happen. You don't have Chris Jones getting that big-time sack or McDuffie making the big-time pass breakup that needed to be made. So those things on the field would concern me because those things are not happening. But when you look, we did the same thing last year, not to week 11, but all year long. It was like, well, they're winning on lucky field goals, or they're winning on a penalty, or it's defense late, or this is not really led by their offense. We have been so concerned and so tied to the Kansas City Chiefs of prior to when Tyreek Hill was there. People still want to compare those teams. They aren't that football team anymore. But it doesn't mean they're not a great football team. They just win very differently now. And I think because those wins are a lot closer and the games look like it's more of a grind it out, we got to figure out a way to win. And then this year, they're losing some of those games. I think that's the concern. But listen, they obviously did not play well to start the season. We got to remember they started 0-2. Outside of the 0-2 start, they're still a 5-3 football team since then. So, yes, did they lose now back-to-back games? They did. But am I ready to just writing them off like teams want to do and they're not playing well? It's just not a smart move from a football guy. Like, you just have to go with the ebbs and flows of the season. Now, you look at their schedule coming up. They have the Colts, another litmus test this week. Who do you think's favored to win this game? Kansas City. Then they play the Cowboys. Who's going to be favored to win that game? KC, Texans, KC, Chargers, probably KC. Like, they're probably still going to be favored in every game the rest of the season. Why is that? And I'm not saying...
You think they'll be favored against the Broncos in week 17?
Yeah, I do. They'll be at home. Like, they'll be at home. I doubt anybody watched the game when they were on the road, and it was a 3-point ball game, and Patrick Mahomes threw a red zone turnover at a red zone interception.
Yeah, that's on Christmas, that game. That's that's huge.
Again, I'm not here to be like, oh, it's Chiefs over everybody, and they're guaranteed to win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is when you have a team that's been great for so long, like the Chiefs have, they have earned the right to get the benefit of the doubt. So until somebody buries them, and that's what I said, teams right now should be trying to bury them, especially in the AFC. The Colts should say, we have to win this game. Like, it's a must-win game because I don't want to see them in the playoffs. And that's what teams have to approach it as. You can't look right. I'm not a big Ryan Clark guy, but he said something last night that after the Cowboys game that I thought was really intriguing, but right. If you're Shane Steichen, you go into this week saying, don't watch the tape of the Kansas City Chiefs and think you're getting that Kansas City Chiefs team. You have to think I'm getting Super Bowl Kansas City Because if you don't, you're going to go in there and be like, man, we can beat this team. They're not nothing. They're playing like crap. But if you take that approach, you're going to get beat. So eventually you're going to get the Patrick Mahomes that plays well, the Kelsey that plays well. So you have to think about, this is a Super Bowl winning Super Bowl team, Kansas City Chiefs, and approach it with that so you can bury them. Because if you don't bury them, and they did in the postseason, nobody, and I mean no team, is going to want to play them. And so I just give them the benefit of the doubt because of their past history. And fair or not, that's the approach I'm going to take. And people may not agree with it, but I don't see why you wouldn't.
So you have their schedule pulled up, right?
Yep.
They're 5-5. What do they finish? They beat the Colts.
I'm not going to go individual games and say they're going to win this game. They're going to. I think that is. I've never been that way with the NFL. I think it's too hard to do that. But I will say, out of the remaining 7 games, Kansas City is going to go 5-2.
So 10 wins. So yeah, that I was about to say. I think to make the playoffs in the AFC, you have to have 10 wins. I think all 3 wildcard teams will have 10 wins when it's all said and done. Now, there's the concern though, because you look at the rest of the wild card picture. You got the Bills, you got the Chargers, and you got the Jags, who everyone's calling just a speed bump in the road for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Speed bumps.
They are. That's what I've been hearing. That's what I hear. I even as a Jags fan, I'm like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. So like, you have to, because you don't own the tiebreaker over the Jags, and as of right now, you don't own the tiebreaker over the Chargers, and you don't own the tiebreaker over the Bills. So you're going to have a better record than at least one of those 3 teams. So you're going to have to hope that those 2 teams, and obviously the eyes go straight to the Jaguars because that they're the Jaguars. So you think that you look at that, and so I don't agree.
I don't agree with the fact that it necessarily means you have to have 10 wins in the AFC. I don't. I mean, who's sitting in the 7th seed right now? Jacksonville at 6 wins?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it they have to go 4-3? Is it not plausible that they go 3-4 and the final team is a 9-win team? Like, I don't.
I do have a hard time thinking that. I do have a hard time seeing that though. I think if you look at even Jacksonville's schedule, that I think that they can still find 4 wins, 3 or 4 wins on this schedule.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying, like, I think it's easy to say, oh, a team's going to beat this team or a team's going to beat that team. But we got to remember, some of these teams are going to play each other. Like, somebody's got to lose. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. You're going to have to play Denver. You're going to have to play the Colts like twice. So Jacksonville plays the Colts twice and Denver still.
Yeah.
Could they win the remaining of their games? Sure. But if they sweep, say if they don't sweep the Colts, they're each of them have another loss. And then you have to look at the Colts schedule, see who they play. Like, I just think that it's
I think
point of the season where division games start.
Yeah. I think the Colts have the AFC South. That's theirs. Like, I think they have the AFC South.
You're already chalking it up.
I am. I think the Jaguars can finish based off their schedule. I see 2, 3, 4. I see 4, maybe 5 wins to where they finish with at least 10 wins. That's what I'm saying.
So let's go there. But see, you're not accounting for the Colts. So maybe they beat the Colts once, let's say. Colts still play at Kansas City, at Jacksonville. We'll say that's the game that they lose. At Seattle, San Francisco, and play Houston twice, which is another 2 division games. Are you telling me that you're already giving them the division? The Colts have had one of the easiest schedules to start the season. I know. They play 4 road games, not easy, and they get the Niners. I'm not as quick to give people divisions like that. I think people look at schedules early and they realize they're playing a bunch of non-conference, non-divisional opponents, and they boosted their records up and they get to 7-2, 8-2, and they think it's just over. Right now, I would not be shocked if the Colts, who are sitting at 8-2 right now, did not finish like 10-7, 11-6. Like, that is not out of the world of possibility.
But
they could
again,
literally go on a 3-game losing streak.
But
right
again,
now.
though, even to what you just said, though, what was the number? What was the lowest win number you just said right there? 10. That's still 10 wins.
But that's to win a division I'm talking about. Like, think about it. You're already giving them the division.
I,
So if the
I- to-
team winning
to
the
go-
division is at 10-7, more than likely there will be a team in the playoffs that's 9-8.
I
That's
don't.
what I'm saying.
I have a hard time seeing that. I do. I have a really hard time seeing that in the AFC right now, where that we end up with a 9-win team in the playoffs for the AFC.
I think it's very very possible given the landscape of the AFC right now. Given that the teams that are going to be fighting are the teams that haven't not been winning their division in the past. Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo. Those are, you're looking at three wildcard teams. Like, those literally could be the 3 wildcard teams.
Yeah, it could be. It could.
And
Now let me then ask the question to kind of spin it ahead to next week. Colts, Chiefs. You think this is like where the Chiefs are? Obviously 5-5. They're not playing to their normal Chiefs standards. But if you look at it on paper, you're like Colts, Chiefs. You would normally say this is a prove it game, right? For the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is a game that, to me, I don't want to say the Colts have to win because they're obviously put themselves in a good spot. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a must win for the Colts. But when I look at their schedule, where's the really strong win outside of week 2?
No,
Like the team and I'm even giving week 2 when they really should have lost. They should have lost to Denver. Denver had the game won, got a penalty, and the Colts got to kick it again, like on a personal foul field goal. Like, so outside of that, there's not a like, oh, that's a win that I'm like, man, that's a really, really good win. They lost to the Rams. Maybe they should have beat the Rams. I don't know, but the Rams are good. Outside of that, I don't see a win where I'm like, man, the Colts really, I like the Colts. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a team that is good, but they don't have no statement wins yet. Like, what's the statement win this week? And many would argue, well, Kansas City can't be a statement win. They're 5-5, but that's a good win on the road in Kansas City. That speaks volumes. That says something like, okay, this team is a little further along than I believe they are. Again, I'm not trying to knock on the Colts. Do I think they're a playoff team? Absolutely. But they don't seem Super Bowl contenderish to me, if that makes sense.
If the Colts win this game, on the other side, the Chiefs lose this game, is that when you start to at 5-6? Is there?
You lose at home to the Colts. You lose at home to the Colts. I mean, I'm still looking at it. It would be the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era they lost 3 straight. Obviously, that's not a good thing. But like I told you, if Kansas City give 3 losses, when the Kansas City lose that 3rd game the rest of the year, then I'm going to chalk it up. But until then, obviously, I'm going to say, why would I count them out? You know what's funny to me? You know why it's funny to me? Because last year, I remember every conversation being, oh, the Bengals could win out and the Bengals could be a dangerous team in the playoffs. And we will give that to teams. We still say it. If Joe Burrow comes back, we will give that to the Cincinnati Bengals, but we won't give it to the team that's been to 7 straight AFC championship games and 5 Super Bowls. That makes 0 sense. 0.
It doesn't. My concern really is though, my brain is having a hard time wrapping itself around the fact that a 9-win team getting into the playoffs from the AFC side, because that's what my panic. But my panic is if they lose this game to the Indianapolis Colts, because I think the room for error for the Kansas City Chiefs is getting thinner and thinner, and I think that one more loss to the Chiefs, it leaves 0 room for error, because then you're at 6. That's 10-6 to finish if you can win out the rest of your schedule, and then it's Colts. So you have Colts, and if you would have lose the game against the Colts, that's 5-6. It's tough to see. Like I know what happened to the Chargers against the Jags. I know that it happened. I'm not completely out on the Chargers because of that of that type of game, but Kansas City at Los Angeles for like. It may even come down to us complaining about the fact that Kansas City had to use their own home game for week 1 against the Chargers in Brazil. Like that was their home game.
I'm just be honest. I just don't think any of that matters. I think if Kansas City is a playoff team, they're going to win enough games to get in the playoffs. And where those games come from won't matter. They lose to the Colts and win 5 straight. Would that surprise you? If they beat the Colts and then lose to the Cowboys and then win 4 straight, would it matter? Like, I think if the Chiefs get to 10 wins, great. I think they're probably a lock to be in. If they get to 9 wins, they would need help. But I am also not on your train of like, there's not a 9-win team there. The Chargers, are they going to win 10 games? Are they? I don't really know. The way their offensive line is not very good. Are they really going to win 10 games? They've played 11. They got 6 more to go. Are they going to go 3-3, or could you see them going 2-4? I think those are like, I don't think those things are out of the question. I think that's what I'm saying. I think we're just giving teams wins just to give them wins and say they're going to get to 10.
Yeah.
But the Chargers still got the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Broncos, the Cowboys. And I'm not saying the Cowboys are good, but we know on any given week that offense could
The
explode.
Cowboys can be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've still got 5 tough games out of the 6. Like, a lot of these teams were back heavy, which is why they were able to get the cushion that they got early. Now, I'm not going to argue. Colts, Patriots, Broncos, probably the 3 teams have locked up playoff berths, right? They put themselves, but outside of that, Pittsburgh, are you sure Pittsburgh's going to even be around? Like, what if Baltimore has a couple more losses and then they're winning the division with 8 or 9 wins? Like, are we sure that they're really not going to be a playoff team?
So that is the AFC North is the only spot I can think of someone being a 9-win team and getting in. I can see this being not as good, obviously, as what it was last year with like the NFC North, where we had all those teams like fill up the wild card spot and everyone had like 11 or 10 wins. I do think this year,
you're
though,
making a lot on Jacksonville. Like, Jacksonville's the only team. If we gave them the 7, that would be the only team with 6 wins right now. Everybody else is 5-5 or worse. So with them being the 7 seed right now, they only have 6 wins. So it's really up to Jacksonville. If Jacksonville doesn't win 10 games, then a team's going to get in probably with 9.
But no. But the thing is, though, is you have to win. The only team that, if the Jags finish 9-7 and the Texans finish 9-7, the Texans would get the tiebreaker and then they would get in, which is crazy to think of that. But
no, that's my point. But they would be 9-8. They still would have 9 wins. That's my point. Is there is going to be a team if Jacksonville does not go 5-2 or 4-3 or whatever we're talking, win those 4 games, there's going to be a team that gets in and 9 wins.
If the Chiefs were to get in, I think they need 10 wins. That's what I will.
That might be a fair assessment. That might be a fair assessment.
And that's the last. And I think that's the last wild card spot. I think the Chiefs are the last wild card spot.
What I'm saying is, you might be right. If the Chiefs get in, there has to be 10. But to say a team can't get in with 9 wins, because if the Chiefs lose a couple of games and Baltimore loses a couple of games, and Jacksonville doesn't do what they're supposed to do, a team's going to get in with 9 wins. Like, you're banking on Kansas City being that final team.
I think Kansas City ends up being I think Kansas City ends up being that final team. And the funny thing is
I believe Kansas City finishes with a better record than the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't think that's far off. I don't think that's far off. I think they may finish the same. I think they could finish with the same record. But
I think the Chargers are headed for a downfall.
Let me just like end this here with just something very, very funny that popped in my brain here. Can you imagine how Josh Allen must be feeling if he enters the playoffs and doesn't have to deal with Lamar and doesn't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl? Can you imagine how that's going to feel mentally? But then if he doesn't make the Super Bowl without those 2 roadblocks in his way, the amount of criticism that the Bills are going, Sean McDermott won't have a job.
He might not have a job anyways. I don't know that Buffalo's a Super Bowl team this year, but that's a different conversation.
I will say, I don't think I will go out on the limb here and say, if there is a world where Baltimore and Kansas City both miss the playoffs and the Bills end up they're all by themselves with Josh Allen and they don't win the Super Bowl or at least make it to the Super Bowl, Sean McDermott will get fired. And it's going to be all just aimed at Sean McDermott and the Bills the entire offseason. Let's move it forward. Let's put a bow on this week 11. Briefly, we have to talk about the most polarizing third string, now second string, now starter, now backup, now starter, now backup. Shedeur Sanders made his NFL debut on Sunday, coming in relief for Dillon Gabriel, who exited with a concussion, entered concussion protocol. We don't know his status for week 12, but Shedeur entered the game. He finished 4 of 16, 47 yards, an interception. Worst completion percentage in an NFL debut in 41 years with a minimum of 15 pass attempts. Shedeur Sanders, I said this while you were troubleshooting your stuff. I said there's two sides to the Shedeur Sanders thing. You're either so in love with Shedeur Sanders that you are blind to anything he does wrong, or you hate the idea of Shedeur Sanders so much that you are blind to anything that he does right. There is no in between. Aaron, be the in between.
You know me so well. I'm always the in between guy because it's about perspective, right? And first of all, I want to address something that I think is what's making its way around the sports talk circles and things like that. It's about this backup versus how many first team reps he had and the situation he had to come into. Listen, I think people forget Shedeur Sanders was a 5th round draft pick. Okay. Whether you agreed with it, whether you disagreed with it, he dropped to the 5th round. He was a 5th round draft pick. We all know that if this conversation was happening, it would never be happening about a 5th round pick if their name wasn't Shedeur Sanders. And I think we have to recognize that, and it's okay to say that. Second thing, every backup quarterback has come out and said, you never get reps with the ones. Like, that's just not the way it works in the NFL. So these people, these pundits that are online talking about, well, it's malpractice. He's never gotten first team reps. No, it's not. It's not. Let's just make it very clear. It's not. He is a 5th round draft pick, a backup quarterback who started the team as a 4th string quarterback, probably would have been 5th string to start the year if Deshaun Watson was healthy. So it's not some malpractice because they haven't given him first team reps. They have another rookie on the roster who they drafted ahead of him, who they wanted to start first. I love Shedeur Sanders, but that's not who they wanted to give the opportunity first. It was Dillon Gabriel. So giving him all the first team reps was more than fair to make sure he was prepared to go in there. That being said, Dillon Gabriel has not played well. And when you draft 2 rookies, at some point you have to make a decision. And for Dillon Gabriel, I think he's got like 900 yards passing in 6 games. He's not turning the ball over, but he's just not making plays. And that offense needs somebody that's going to make plays right now and make throws. And he hasn't done that. So this opportunity that presents itself is a perfect opportunity for Shedeur. I'm of the mindset, everybody reacting to what happened on Sunday does not matter. Good or bad. Shedeur Sanders, the thing that mattered the most Sunday was when Shedeur Sanders put on his helmet and ran on the field, the crowd was excited. It erupted. That's the only thing Cleveland should be concerned with at this point. Because at some point, and I know people hate my owner in Jerry Jones, but at some point, you have to give the fans what they want, especially when the guy ahead of them is not playing well. Dillon Gabriel's not playing well. An opportunity presented itself. Let Shedeur play. Now, is he going to be successful? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to be good or bad. Do I like him? Do I think he has really good arm talent? I do. I don't know if he's going to be good in the NFL right now or not. I just can't see it. I can't see one way or the other. But it's his time, and this is his opportunity. And there's no better opportunity than to come in on a short week for the Raiders and get to play the Raiders. Like, they're not good. So you have an opportunity right now to stamp your job for at least the rest of the season if you're Shedeur Sanders.
And I think this is to piggyback off of that perfect time situation is it's almost like the Kyler Murray situation in Arizona where it feels a little bit better when you can throw a quarterback out on IR, or you have an injury to kind of make it seem like we're not benching Dylan Gabriel, but we're benching Dylan Gabriel kind of thing where he's got a concussion. We want to give him some rest. We want to give him some time. And maybe he has to go. I'm not assuming any of that. I don't want to, do not come at me.
The mental games, man.
But I'm just saying, like,
what's wrong with just being transparent? What's wrong with just saying, this is my biggest problem with Cleveland. What's wrong with just saying the obvious? Like, why can't Kevin Stefanski and this come out and just say, Shador's not ready. I'm not going to play him until I feel he's ready. This week, the opportunity is presenting itself. We feel like with the not the pressure, but the noise that's coming out of the building, that the fans that want to see Shador play and want to see if this is an investment that we want to make, we are going to put Shador on the field. Why is it so hard? Why do we have to play this game of lying and through the media and all this coach speak? Like, to me, I think that is so old and tired in the NFL. Like, why can't you just keep it real? Like, just keep it real. What are you thinking as a coach? I'm not ready to start Shador Sanders yet. I'm the head coach. You want to get on me? You want to boo me? Do whatever you want to do. But don't boo Dylan Gabriel. He's not the one that's making the decisions. I am. So that's my biggest issue with Cleveland, is they're so wishy-washy and they don't want to say the wrong thing. Instead of just saying, look, guys, he's our 5th round pick. He's not ready to go. We'll play him when he's ready. And I don't think you need to make an excuse like you're saying this week. I know it's easier, but if Dylan Gabriel got hurt, hey, look, Dylan hasn't played well. Shador came in. He didn't play well, but I want to give him an opportunity. This is what the fans want. He's going to get a week of first-team reps. We're going to give Dylan an extra week off for a concussion that if we have to go back to him, we will. I'm not afraid to, but this week, it's going to be Shador. These guys are rookie quarterbacks that have to earn their keep in the league. I am not worried about their feelings, their mindset. It doesn't matter. They need to go out and prove themselves, because neither one of them has earned anything in the NFL. None of them. They'll be lucky if they'll be on a roster next year. So I'm giving Shador Sanders the opportunity this week the same way I gave it to Dylan earlier this year. And now it's Shador's turn to get his turn. And if we have to go back to Dylan, guess what? We will. If he doesn't want to be here, then he won't want to be here. Get over it.
Sack City season 1, Sack City season 2, the same Aaron.
I'm never going to change.
Keeping it the same. All right, we're starting to become tight on time here.
The first 20 minutes of the show didn't happen, so that's fair.
Yeah. But so let's wrap this up. I've been looking forward to this part the entire time. It is time to get into your power rankings for week 12, entering week 12. This is let's get let's lay out the guidelines here first. You told me before we went live that a lot of people, they like to give out their rankings based off of records and things like that, and you hit us with your rankings with not just the records in mind. So let's get into it. At number 10, the Green Bay Packers. At number 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. 7, the Seattle Seahawks. 6, Indianapolis Colts. 5, New England Patriots. 4, the Buffalo Bills. And at 3, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Denver Broncos at 2. And number 1, holding down the number 1 spot in the Messiah's first power rankings of season 2 of the Sack City podcast. It is the Los Angeles Rams. Aaron, we didn't get to talk a lot about the Rams yet. They are holding down the number 1 spot, which is going to come to, they're not the number 1 seed in the NFC. They don't have the best tell us about the Rams being at the number 1 spot.
Well, they're the best team in football right now. You can talk about them not being the number 1 seed in the NFC and all that stuff, but that's week 11. Like, we're talking about right now who's playing the best football, who's done what they needed to do. It's the Rams. They can do it in all 3 phases of the game. The kicking game, a little bit of a struggle this year for them. I would say that's probably the weakness at this point. But we're looking at teams that everybody has 2 losses. Denver, Patriots, Colts, Rams, Eagles, all 2 losses. What about those teams, I would say, are dominant sides of the football? And then look at the quarterback position, which I already told you is the most valuable. Best quarterback out of that group, one of the best defensive lines, Probably, arguably, the best head coach in Sean McVay. I think their stability and their ability to get it done when it matters is just right now premier in the league. Now, can they lose on any given day? Sure, just like any other team. But I think they're the best team in the NFC, and right now I think the best team in the NFC is better than the best team in the AFC, and that to me is the Los Angeles Rams. They can do it on the ground. They can do it through the air. They got a 1-2 combination on wideout that's arguably the best in the business. And they have the quarterback who's playing like an MVP right now. And I don't think there's any debate there that he's playing like an MVP. And you look at their 2 losses. It was an overtime choke job against the 49ers. And then early in the season where they were blowing out Philadelphia, and Philadelphia made a nice comeback. That was probably their best offensive game for the Eagles. And they lost that one. Outside of that, they're unblemished, and they're just a quality football team.
It's not fair to be able to have Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Matt Stafford all together, and then you throw in Kyron Williams, who's pretty good, and then that defense. I mean, I know that this week for the Rams was we had talked about it before about how big this game was between Seattle and Los Angeles. And a lot of talk a lot of it goes to the offense because of Stafford MVP, but this defense, I don't think gets enough credit for doing what they do. I mean, they forced 4 turnovers on Sam Darnold in this massive game against Seattle. We talked about this defense. We were really like, once Aaron Donald left, it was like, okay, we have some question marks around this Rams defense, but they really haven't lost much of a step since those days. I mean, they brought in Jared Verse, who has been one of the best defensive pass rushers in the game. Like, this defense is playing as a unit, and they don't get enough love and appreciation for how well-rounded they make this team. Hopefully that makes sense. That makes sense there. This team is complete.
Sense. They are a complete football team. I wouldn't say those concerns when Aaron Donald left weren't valid. They were. The Rams were an old football team, and they quickly became young, and they did it very, very fast. And when you think about how they kind of made that happen with their approach to the draft and their approach to free agency and things like that, that's why they were able to do it. You're talking about a front office that isn't afraid to go out and be aggressive. You're talking about a front office that's not afraid to make trades and do those things. And let's not even mention the fact that they just made a trade with the Falcons. They're going to get another top 10 pick this year. They've addressed needs in the draft and the needs in free agency, and you have to commend them for that. But this goes beyond just what's been on the football field. Like, Sean McVay is a big part of that. Les Snead is a big part of that as a general manager. They know how to build a football team, and you're seeing it pay dividends on the field. But let's be completely honest. Number 9 is the reason the Rams are where they are. The defense is great. All that stuff is cool. We got a lot of teams in the league that got really, really good defenses. But Matt Stafford is the one that's going to be able to lead this team to a championship contender. It's going to come down to his shoulder. And if he's healthy, they have a shot. If he's not healthy, Jimmy Garoppolo ain't going to get it done. So the Rams have a window right now of this year. I don't know how much longer Stafford's going to play. Maybe next year, but you'll see them go attack a quarterback and try to find another his replacement. But right now, this is the time for them, and I think that they're taking advantage of that. They are the best team in football right now. If I had to pick a team to win the Super Bowl right now, if you said everything's equal, today's the Super Bowl, all these teams, which team would win it today? I would choose the Rams. I just think they have a way of a confidence about them. The way they played against Seattle and made Sam Darnold turn back into the pumpkin. It's just, I think they're the best football team right now in the league.
Side note to what you had just brought up about the Rams and having that extra pick. I have been preaching the fact that they should not necessarily waste that early pick on a quarterback, but I think it's the perfect chance to go for your future with that top 5 pick potentially, and then go for your win now with your second first round pick. in this upcoming draft. Get your quarterback in the top 10, and then get your win now, do whatever with that pick to get your win now piece to continue to try and maybe either win one or win another one or win another one and another one with Matthew Stafford. I think that would be.
I think the argument is, if you're not fond of the quarterback class, which many people aren't, especially with some questions about who's coming back to school this year, is trading that first round pick to acquire a 2027, and you just trade back a little, still keep the first round pick, but you pick up one in 2027, which allows you to then be flexible in 27, which the quarterback class and is supposed to be a lot better. So that would be me. I'm taking a piece. I'm trading back. I'm getting a piece now, plus my second first round pick for another piece now, win, and then trade back to get 2027 first. I think they have so much flexibility, and they do such a great job of building their roster that the sky's the limit for the Rams. And if they do find their next franchise quarterback, the league's going to be in trouble.
Hey, Atlanta Falcons, you want your first round pick back? We'll give it to you. Just give us your next year's first round pick, and we can be in the same spot in 2027. We can do this all over again. We can just do this all over again. Okay, let's kind of get back into your power rankings and wrap this thing up here. Out of all of these teams here in the power rankings, who was the hardest to place?
We've spent a lot of time on. I think it's the Chiefs, because I just have a hard time moving them outside of the top 10 teams in the league when I just don't think there's 10 teams better than them when it really matters the most. And so I think it was hard for me to try to show them respect to keep them in it, but also not to put them too high to where not giving credit to the teams that have played that well. So I thought I could have put them at 7, but I still think Seattle is really, really close. And if Sam Darnold could avoid the games like he had on Sunday where he turned the ball over too much, I think they would be a Super Bowl contender as well. I really like Seattle. So I put them after Seattle, and I think looking beyond that, all those other teams that are after them, they have bad losses. They're kind of up and down as well. And I just thought that was a good spot for him. So I think Kansas City was the toughest for me to rank. I think those other teams are good. I think Buffalo's ranked there because of Josh Allen only. I'm not a fan of Buffalo, to be honest. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. But at any given day, just like a Patrick Mahomes and I've been saying, Josh Allen can be Superman. And he was Superman the other day, and they beat Tampa. So if he shows up and he can be Superman for 3 or 4 games in a row, they obviously have a shot. It's just hard to do that in this league.
Who is one team that you could see moving into the top 10 that's not there right now?
Baltimore. Their way their defense is playing, I think they can get back there. I just think that they're one of those 5-5 football teams that you just don't want to play. Lamar didn't even play that well against Cleveland, and Cleveland's defense never gets enough credit because of how bad their offense is. But Myles Garrett is a damn dog. He's going to have 25 sacks this year. He is a dog. He is unblockable. He's the best player in football, in my opinion, right now. And defensive player of the year, he reminds me of like the guy on the defense, like the Patrick Mahomes on offense. Like, I just think he's the best player in the world on defense. And he should get defensive player of the year until he's done. He's just that good. So yeah, I think they're not going to give them a lot of credit. So that's why it was a division game, but I still think Baltimore is a team that's very, very dangerous. And that defense is starting to play very, very well. And that's what they were missing early in the year.
Yeah, I feel like Baltimore's kind of flying under the radar with like all the talk about because of the Chiefs being where they are, what they've been, and everyone's been wrapped around that. No one's really talking about how the Ravens are literally about to. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers and him potentially missing Sunday, I know the wrist thing with him has been
still going to win the division.
I think Baltimore ends up coming back and still wins it. Yeah, like it's. And then I mean, you look at the like. I don't know that the Rodgers thing with the Steelers, the wrist. I don't know. I have a funny feeling he ends up playing against the Bears on Sunday and then ends up like losing his like ownership of the Bears. Like that's just what I picture happening.
You don't think the Steelers could beat the Bears?
I think they can.
The Steelers can beat any team in the league. That's the type of team they are. Like they're just the type of team that. They can beat anybody. They're just not a great football team. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just like you. I kind of like when you said it last week about when you were talking about the Bears last week. I kind of like was like, and then watching them again, I'm like,
they did it again. They probably shouldn't have won that game again, but they did.
But the thing is, it's just and you look at last year with the Bears, like not to go off on a tangent here with the Bears, but like look at last year, they were in these same types of games, but then Eberflus just lost them these games. Like Eberflus and Caleb Williams together lost them these games. But now you just can see how drastic of a difference it is when you have the right coach and you have the quarterback that has the skill set to be able to make things happen. And then Cairo Santos being able to finish the job for the Bears. I think that's it. I think that's it for the day. I think after this, we'll go watch the games. Doggo's got to go. We'll just say our goodbyes here. For those watching on YouTube, if you've made it this far on the live stream, we're rewatching it. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to please like, subscribe, share, follow on all of our social media platforms at the Sac City Pod on
City
Facebook.
Pod.
Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok. Let's throw it back here. Let's feed the ducks. Let's feed the ducks. Well,
Baby hands, Kenny Pickett. I didn't even mention. Because we got behind, I didn't mention Kenny Pickett. I was going to talk about him when we were talking about the Browns, but throw back to Kenny Pickett's little baby hands. I miss him.
He's got the smallest hand. It's incredible. I mean, look at those things. You know what? Also, I see in our bank here. This.
Yeah.
What a time. What a time. All right.
That was my Halloween costume.
Yeah, every year. That's the every year Halloween costume. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Sac City Podcast. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms at the Sac City Pod. We'll be back next Tuesday for more reactions, more look aheads, more rankings. Make sure you're locked into those social media platforms for all the great content that we're putting out. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you.
We know we were a much better team and we came up and represented ourselves. That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom 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 nom.